Behind every picture-perfect wedding, there's often this unseen risk, this quiet breakdown in accountability. Today, we're going to dig into why that happens. But more importantly, we're going to see how the pros, the best in the business, are actually engineering systems to stop it before it even starts. So let's get into it.
Okay, so picture this. You're at a wedding reception, the music's playing, people are mingling, but behind the scenes, things are going wrong. The timeline's a mess, a really important moment just got missed, and you can see the stress on the couple's faces. The venue manager, they're now staring down a very, very simple question that's also incredibly hard to answer.
Who was responsible? Really, who's to blame? Was it the DJ who showed up late? The caterer who wasn't ready? Maybe the planner who had the wrong schedule? Well, here's the thing. Without the right systems in place, finding a fair answer to that question, it's pretty much impossible. And that right there is the crucial point. The problem usually isn't that someone was trying to mess things up. Nope, it's that responsibility was never clearly handed out to begin with. When everything is just based on informal chats and emails, accountability just dissolves. It becomes a matter of opinion. And that, my friends, is where all the finger-pointing starts.
So, this all leads to something we could call the accountability illusion. It's this false sense of security, right? You think, hey, we've got contracts signed, we hired professionals, it's all going to be fine. But in reality, that is rarely how it actually works.
And you can really see this dangerous gap between what we assume and what's actually happening. We assume that because a contract is signed, accountability is crystal clear. But the reality, it's totally subjective. We assume that an experienced supplier is all you need. But nope, experience doesn't automatically create structure. And the big one, we assume everyone's working off the same timeline, when in reality, there are probably 3 different versions floating around in people's inboxes.
So how does this whole mess even happen? Well, let's break it down. You've got different timelines flying around in emails. Someone gives a quick, yeah, sure, in the hallway, and suddenly that trumps what's in the official document. Then you have the couple, the very people who should be just enjoying their day, stuck in the middle, relaying messages between vendors. And the really critical stuff, like power outlets or when the band can load in, it's all just assumed. Nothing is actually confirmed.
And here's the real heart of the problem. Think about it. When every single supplier, the caterer, the DJ, the florist, only has their little piece of the puzzle, nobody, absolutely nobody, can see the full picture. And when you only have partial information, well, you can only take partial responsibility.
Now, this kind of ambiguity, it's not just a small headache. No way. It has a real, tangible, and often high cost. It kicks off this predictable, destructive cycle that can absolutely wreck relationships, drain budgets, and tarnish a venue's hard-earned reputation.
And here is that cycle in action. First, boom, a problem happens. What's next? Immediately, every supplier starts defending their version of events. The venue manager gets thrown into the role of a referee, trying to sort through all these conflicting stories. And all this chaos is unfolding while the couple's stress level is just skyrocketing. The end game? Nobody feels like it was their fault, but everybody feels like they were wronged.
The fallout from this can be pretty serious. For the venue, its authority gets weaker because it looks like the rules don't really matter. Trust between suppliers just corrodes. Then you get the real financial hits, paying staff for overtime, giving money back to the couple to make things right. And in the worst-case scenarios, yeah, you could be looking at legal battles.
Okay, so how do we fix this mess? Well, we have to stop just hoping for the best, leaving accountability completely to chance. The solution is to make a shift, to move away from all that informal chaos and toward a centralized, engineered system that is built from the ground up for clarity.
So what is engineered accountability? Basically, it just means you're creating a system where every single instruction, every timeline update, every requirement, it all goes through one central hub, and it's all documented. Why does this matter? Because it makes responsibility traceable. You can literally follow the breadcrumbs back and see exactly who signed off on what and when they did it.
And a system like this is really built on 5 key pillars. First, you have a single source of truth. That means one master plan for everybody, no exceptions. Second, confirmed access windows, so there's zero guesswork about when vendors can get in. Third is a technical sign-off. This is where you formally verify things like power and space needs. No more assumptions. Fourth, a clear communication hierarchy, so everybody knows exactly who to listen to for the final word. And finally, change log tracking, which is just a fancy way of saying you have a record of every single change that was made.
And this really highlights why our normal go-to tools, emails and text messages, just completely fall apart under pressure. Think about it. Sending an email doesn't prove the person actually read it, let alone agreed to it. Text threads get messy and confusing fast, and it becomes way, way too easy for a supplier to be working off an old, outdated floor plan on the actual day of the wedding.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Doesn't all this structure feel a little restrictive? But honestly, the exact opposite is true. This isn't about controlling people. It's about creating clarity for everyone. And it's that clarity that builds real trust between the whole team.
Because at the end of the day, all of this, it comes back to one thing, the couple's experience, right? They hired a team of professionals for a reason, so they wouldn't have to worry about the logistics. A proper system protects them. It keeps them from being thrown into the middle of some supplier disagreement on what's supposed to be one of the best days of their lives.
And here's something that might surprise you. The good professional suppliers, they actually love this. A clear system makes their jobs easier. It reduces their stress, it protects their professional reputation, and it stops misunderstandings before they start. When everyone knows the rules of the game, it's so much easier for everyone to work together as a team.
So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Just hoping for accountability? Well, that's not a strategy. That's just a fragile system waiting to crack under pressure. Real, solid accountability doesn't happen by accident. It has to be deliberate. It has to be designed. It has to be engineered right into the process from the very beginning.
And that's really the final thought here. This idea of engineered accountability. It's not about micromanaging talented people. Far from it. It's about protection. It's about protecting the event itself, protecting the supplier's reputations, protecting the venue's authority, and most importantly, it's about protecting the couple's experience. It's not control, it's protection for everyone involved.